Morning Leadership. 8 mentoring sessions you can't afford to miss. The 8th week. Enter the learning zone. Welcome, Jeff. It's your graduation day, beamed Tony as we shook hands and headed for his library. The last time I went to your graduation, I told you the learning was just beginning. The same thing applies now, even after all the years of experience you had. Truth be known, I've probably learned more in our sessions than you have. Thank you for allowing me to share with you. Wait, don't thank me, I protested. You gave your time and knowledge to me. I could tell Tony was uneasy with my praise. Well, enough of the bola, he said. What happened last week at work? Well, the best news is Jenny is coming back to the company. I explained the changes I was making and how I led the team. Then I think she called several of her friends to see if I was really doing what I had outlined in our conversation and to find out if it was making a difference. She called on Wednesday saying she really wanted to come back to the team. She starts in 2 weeks. That's a good deal. The new hires are doing great. They're full of enthusiasm and it's rubbing off on the rest of the team, including me. It was worth the time and effort to hire tough and get the right people on board. I shared the analogy of the bucket and the dipper with the team. Then we brainstormed some of our own rules for bucket filling and what to do when someone gets their dipper in your bucket. Not only was it a fun exercise, it definitely made a point. A couple of times last week, I heard people say, "Get your dipper out of my bucket," when a negative or cynical comment was made. That's about it. Things are going pretty smoothly now that we have focus. That's good news, Jeff. Remember I told you this last session. Would it be all about you? Tony's tone was back to its serious pitch. We spent 7 sessions talking about your team, your leadership style, and how to get results from others. Now let's focus on what you can do to achieve the goals you have for yourself. First, I want to commend you. It took courage for you to call me several weeks ago. You might not have called unless you were at a point where you had nothing to lose, but you still had the courage to call. I understand that feeling of being at the end of your rope. I've been there before and made a similar call out of the blue to an old friend. If you hadn't had the courage to make the call, most likely nothing would have changed, except you'd probably be even more frustrated. Anyway, I'm glad you called. Did you see the movie Groundhog Day? The one where Bill Murray lives the same day over and over again? Yes, pretty funny movie, I said. Well, that's the way many people live their lives, Tony explained. They wake up and do the same things over and over and over. Because that's where they're comfortable, until it's time to retire. Jeff, you have too much potential to be living Groundhog Day over and over. A forceful enemy to your potential is your comfort zone. When you first came to my home 8 weeks ago without knowing it, you described what it was like to be in the comfort zone. And then things changed at work, and the comfort zone was no longer comfortable. You didn't know what to do or where to go. For you to be the very best, you cannot allow yourself to become complacent in your comfort zone. You need to be reaching for improvement to fulfill your potential. You need to move out of your comfort zone and into the learning zone. Let me explain. There are 3 rooms in the learning zone. The first room is the reading room. Look around this library. There are more than 1,000 books in here. More than half of those books are about management and leadership. Executives call me to help them solve business problems. I've never made up a solution. None of their problems are unique. The value I offer is the wisdom of all the people who have written these books. You learn more by reading more. I'm living proof that the more you learn, the more you earn. Did you know most people don't read one nonfiction book in a year? Not one. You'd think books must be scarce or expensive, but there's an abundance of books at every public library waiting for people to simply walk in and check them out at no charge. Free! Now let's suppose you decided to read one book a month on management or leadership. Most books are between 12 and 20 chapters, so you'd be reading about half a chapter a day, which would take you about 10 minutes. During the next year, you'd have read 12 books. Do you think you'd know more about management and leadership if you read 12 books a year on the subject? This was a rare no-brainer question for a Monday mornings. Of course, I said. When the next job opening at a higher position in the company comes up, would you be better prepared to assume that role? Of course. See, Jeff, the question is not, do you have the time or money? The question is, do you have the discipline to set aside time every day to read? In your case, you probably won't retire for at least 15 years. In 15 years, you could read 180 books just by reading half a chapter a day. Make it a priority to read, and your knowledge will likely make you the obvious choice for the next promotion. The second room in the learning zone is the listening room. Did you know that the principal reasons executives fail are arrogance, out of control egos, and insensitivity? They forget to take the time to listen to their people. Soon they become insensitive to the needs and desires of the individuals on the team. Arrogance, out of control egos, and insensitivity are part of the management land trap. Don't allow yourself to fall into that trap. Listen to your people. A few other comments about listening. First, you tend to listen better when you attend outside seminars and conferences. Anytime you gather new information, you can make better decisions. Second, you can also learn to listen better by making better use of your time while you're in your car. The average person spends over 500 hours per year in their car. That's a lot of time. Maybe if you spend some of that time listening to a motivational or inspirational audio tape, it will have a greater influence on you than listening to talk radio or music. It's just a thought. The third room in the learning zone is the giving room. I strongly feel you cannot succeed without giving back, Tony continued. There are reasons why hearses don't have luggage racks. Your legacy will be what you leave others. When we started these sessions, one of the requirements was that you would have to teach others what I was teaching you. My purpose in making that a requirement was so you would become more accountable. The more you teach, the more accountable you become to what you're teaching. Teaching is good for you. I realize it's easy to agree we need to become lifelong learners, but the facts are that nothing is going to change unless you set specific goals for improvement. You may have heard the story of people who went to the airport to wait for their ship to come in. The only problem is ships don't go to airports. If you want your ship to come in, you've got to go where the ships are. In personal improvements, the ships are in goals, specific, measurable, and obtainable goals. I found that goals can become the strongest force for self-motivation. They are your track to run your course. Yet, less than 5% of all people set specific goals, and fewer than 5% will write their goals down on paper. If goals are so important, why don't more people set them? Tony asked rhetorically. I think there are 4 main reasons why people fail to set goals. First, people fail to set goals because they don't know the importance of goal setting. Every great accomplishment I know about has begun with a goal written down on a sheet of paper. Achieving the goal is automatic. Setting the goal is the issue. Second, most people don't know how to set goals. After each session, I ask you to write down what actions you were going to take the next week. I did that because writing clarifies the goal and commits you to it. Third, sometimes people don't set goals because they're afraid of failure. If you have no goals, you're not risking failure. I think we should do the opposite. Fail faster and more often. Failure is a prelude to success. To become more successful, we have to fail more often. But don't take this to an extreme. I'm talking about setting goals that will help us become more successful, even if we fail to accomplish the goal. Fourth, goals require people to leave their comfort zone. That can be scary for many people because it often involves having to learn new skills. Nothing would please me more than to watch you become a fantastic goal setter and goal achiever. You can become a leader who has balance in your life. You can become a great role model for others to follow. But over the years, I've learned that most people don't want to follow someone who loses their health or their family because they work all the time. People want to follow people who are balanced in all areas, not just work. My final thought for you is this: stay positive. Of course, you will become discouraged again somewhere along the way. Just don't give up. The world is not for Pollyannas. Bad things happen to even the best people. You know how much I enjoy golf. Well, I think golf is a great teacher of life's lessons, as well as leadership lessons. And I've learned that in every round of golf, 3 bad things are going to happen that are not deserved. You may hit the ball in the middle of the fairway only to discover the ball in an old divot. Or you hit the perfect shot right before the wind gusts, and your shot lands just short, buried in the bunker. Or perhaps your perfect putt moves off course because someone didn't take time to fix their ball mark. Similar unfair things happen in business. The question is not, are unfair things going to happen? The question is, how are you going to react to whatever happens? I have one last story for you. I once knew an older woman who I would consider one of the wisest and most positive person I've ever known. She didn't have much money or formal education, nor did she work outside the home. Yet she had earned a PhD in common sense and wisdom. One of the nuggets of wisdom from this old friend that I will always remember is how to face problems and be positive, no matter the situation. She loved to tell the stories of how everyone could go to a field about the size of a football field and line up across the perimeter. While standing on the edge of the field, each person is given the opportunity to throw their problems into the middle of the field. Once all the problems have been thrown in, you have the choice of which ones to pick up and take home. Most people will probably pick up their own problems and go back home realizing that they really didn't have it that bad after all. You know, I think she's right on the money with her story. So much life is good, even when a situation appears to be the worst. Stay positive and help make another's life better. So, Jeff, we are about out of time, and for the last time, I'll ask my question. What are you going to do differently? Well, Tony, I think you saved your best story for last. And I think your friend is probably right. I suspected you would ask me what I would do differently one more time, so I came prepared. I reviewed my notes from all the previous sessions, and here are my commitments. Jeff's leadership commitments. I am responsible for my actions and my team's performance. No matter what the circumstances, I keep the main thing the main thing. I have a positive relationship with my boss. I escaped from management land and stay in tune with my people. I recognize and reward superstars' activity. I address problems in a proactive manner. I do what's right even when no one is watching. I realize that everything I do counts toward my leadership score. I hire tough. I am an excellent time manager. I fill others' buckets. And after this week's session, I'm going to add 2 more. I live in the learning zone. I am a positive role model for others. Wonderful, Jeff. You have come a long way in the past 8 weeks, Tony said, standing and shaking my hand. Before I leave, I have something for you in my car. I said, I'll be right back. Here, Tony, this is for you, I said, handing him a gift-wrapped box. Tony opened the present, a big brass bucket with Tony's initials engraved on the front. It was filled to overflowing with 30 or so small gifts. At the risk of sounding corny, this gift represents what you have done for me. The past 8 weeks, I explained, a lump beginning in my throat. You filled my bucket with your gifts, insight, and wisdom. So my question to you is, when can we meet again? Well, remember, when we began our sessions, you committed to teach others what I would be teaching you. Do that and then we'll get together. Thank you for the bucket and gifts, Jeff. I am honored that you called me and allowed me to work with you. I took a deep breath as I walked outside and turned away. So long, Tony. See you soon. Live in the learning zone. Get out of the comfort zone. Read 10 minutes a day. Listen to people. Give back. Set goals. Stay positive. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification